Why, hello everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. So, in this next part, we're going to try to do something a little bit more complicated. I don't know if it's going to work right away because I am doing it on the spot. But essentially, what we're going to be doing is step one, we're going to add a new field that's going to be called grant or remove. If grant is selected, then it will continue to work as normal, as you've already seen, to add a user to a group. We're actually going to call it add instead of grant. I think that sounds a little bit more clear. And then if remove is selected, then it will automatically remove the user from the group. So we are going to have to update our flow. But not only that, I am going to make a modification to the advanced reference quantifier where if remove is selected, then the groups will only show the groups that the user actually has. That way we can ensure that a group is not selected where the user is not already in the group. So for example, it's not going to try to remove a group where the user doesn't exist. So it's better to just filter out that information right away. So let's get into it. So the first step, which is the easy step, we're going to go to maintain items to update our catalog item. Let's search for group here. Add user to group. Click on that. It is just loading. And then we're going to click on new. And this time we're going to make it I believe it's either a choice or a select box. Yeah, we're going to try select box. We're going to put order 150. And this will be called type of requests. We're going to go ahead and click, let's make it mandatory first, and we're going to go ahead and save that. And then, there we go. Now we have question choices at the bottom. So we can go ahead and click new. Our first question choice will be add. We're going to go ahead and add a value, add as well. And then we're going to also add remove. So this will be the new field that where a user can select add or remove for a group on the form. And while that is loading, let's just see how that looks so far. Perfect. So we're going to default it to add. That's fine. And now that that's done, let me just double check and refresh. That looks okay. And now we're going to first do the part where if add is selected, it should do the same thing essentially, as we've seen from the previous videos. But now if remove is selected, it should only show the groups that are linked with the user. So if I select Abil, then it will only show the groups that are linked with Abil. And I'm just going to go back to our script include to make this change. I'm kind of thinking about it on the spot how we can do this. So it is called our script that we did last time. It is, I'm trying to remember. Let's see, requested. I'm just going to go to created. Let's see, or I'll just click on updated to filter the most recent ones created. And I don't see it. Oh, I clicked on the wrong script include. All right, under system definitions. There we go, get user groups. All right, I was sweating there a little bit. So what I'm thinking is essentially what we could do is we could add a new parameter here called type of requests. And we can check if type of request is add, it will work as normal. Otherwise, if it's removed, it will be a little bit different. So the way we're going to do this is, either way, we're going to want to query. So I think that's fine. So we could do, let's see, if type, and we have to use the values. So that's what we created. I closed the form, but when I created add and remove, you saw that there was like a key value. So just to show exactly what I'm talking about there, we're probably gonna have to use that to compare. So I'm just going to search for group add user to group. And if we click on type of requests here, so the value here you want to use add or remove. So if type of request is equal to remove, we'll do things a little bit differently. And I am going to, let's see. So if it's add and if it's remove, we still want to query and add the groups on the field no matter what. So that's fine. And if requested for is a falsy value, we'll still return that. However, let's maybe just add the comparison here could be the right place. So if it's equal to remove, else do this, or we don't even need an else because we're going to be returning something anyway, so it won't execute anything after that. So I could technically just do the only display the groups that are linked with the user. So instead of doing not in, we can just do in. So now it will only, or it should only show the groups associated with the user. As I talk about this and go through this, it could be a small code change. Of course, there might be some improvements we can do. And let's go ahead and click on Control S to save that. And we're going to have to update the advanced reference quantifiers. So, because we want to add in now this new parameter. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our, or I guess I can just hit the backspace here to go back to it. There we go. We're going to go back to our required group to update that. And while that's loading, we are going to go to the type specifications. And now that we have a new parameter that this function can take, it's going to be current dot variables dot, and we want to get the internal name, which will probably be type underscore request right here. If I open this again as that loads, I'm going to click on question and we're going to grab the internal name here. So now we're passing in this value and we're checking within our script if it's removed. So we can go ahead and control S that, of course, if you have SN utils. And now let's refresh this. Let's just see if it works on the first try. So if I hit remove, we can see it still shows all the groups. So this is something that could be improved because it should show nothing if no users are selected. But if I select Abil and I check Abil's profile and I see he's part of 3 groups and I clicked required groups, so that does not seem to actually be working. So I'm just thinking about that. If type of request is equal to remove, oh, I think I understand. It's because I'm passing in the sys ID. No, it's on a reference, so it shouldn't be the sys ID. I'm passing in a choice, so if type of request dot get value is removed. So let's get the value of type of request, and then once we return the value, if that is removed. Now let's try that and see if that fixes anything. Refresh. And now if I hit on required groups, we see everything. If I hit removed, we see everything. If I hit Abil, we only see the groups associated with Abil. Okay, so far that's already a lot better. That's what I like about doing these videos on the spot. It really forces me to think, which is good. However, I'm just going to quickly make the change where if no users are selected. So yeah, this user is not part of any groups, and we can see that because it did not display any matches here. And now if it's requested for, we do if dot get value if the, okay, I see. So it's actually this part. This is the reason why we're displaying all of them. So we do need another type of condition. So we're gonna add a new condition where, let's see. So if the, we'll do it here. I'm going to make this into a variable because we're going to use it twice. So var type is removed equals this. So this will be a Boolean value. And then we can do if type is removed, then we can do a sysid in. So this should be nothing because it's essentially a empty statement, so it should show no groups. And then otherwise, if it's not removed for add, it will still show all the groups as it did in the previous videos. So that should work, and then I can grab the variable that we made here and simply just replace it with this because we're already doing it. And now let's control S that and see if that fixed that issue. As I take a nice sip of coffee. Okay, so it showed all the groups, which is good because we selected add. And if I select remove, we see nothing. So that's really exactly what we want so far. And if I hit Abel, we see only the groups that are with Abel. And if I hit add, we see all the groups that Abel is not in. So that's working too. So now, so far I feel pretty good. It seems pretty smooth. So the next step we're going to do for this video is we're going to update the flow so that, because right now we don't have any logic for remove. So if remove selected, it's not going to actually remove the group from the user. So to do that, we're going to go back to Flow Designer, aka Workflow Studio in Washington. And we're going to click on our flow. And what we're going to do is we now have, well, let's click Edit Flow first. We now have a new field type of request. So let's get that from the variables. And we're going to have to add a condition. I will require a approval for adding and remove. So this will stay the same. And we're going to add the condition here. So if the type of request is removed, so so we can grab this, if type of request is removed, we'll do the removed logic, which we're going to add. Otherwise, what we could do, actually, I think the catalog task could be in the same step potentially. It just becomes, but we can maybe optimize this later because what I could do is I could replace add by type of request, but it would take the value, so it would be a lowercase r, unless I change the value to be an uppercase r, which I could also do. Which, you know what, I think I will do. Normally the key values are lowercase, but in this case I'm going to do that. It will just make things look a lot smoother and cleaner. So I'm going to change the key value here to a uppercase. And remember, when you change a key value, you have to just validate everywhere it's used, because now I'm going to have to update the script to make sure that it is also a capital. I'm just going to do another refresh here. Oh, it didn't update that. Okay, let me try one more time. To a capital, save that. There we go. Do another refresh. And then let's just make sure to update our script. And what's nice about storing it into a variable is we only have to update it in one spot instead of two, which is always great. So we're going to go ahead and Control S. We're just going to quickly double check that it is still working. Reload that. Requested 4. Add will show all of them. And remove will only show 3 with that user. And this is good. So now what's going to happen is I can replace add with type of request. So we'll dynamically display whether it is add or remove. And let's add a space there. Okay, I'm just going to Control C that here too. And then what we're gonna do is, so we're gonna create, it doesn't matter if it's add or remove, we're gonna create a catalog task. So I can move this here, and I'm gonna add a else statement here. So if it's not removed, meaning it is add, we're gonna then add the user to the group here. Otherwise, we will essentially, in order to do a remove, we will essentially have to look up the existing record on the sysuser gr member table and delete it after. So I would have to do, there is an action look up record that I can take. And what's really nice is that with the lookup record action, if it doesn't find the record, it would throw an error unless you click on don't fail on error. And that's fine. However, in this use case, because we added that advanced reference quantifier, we know that the record will always exist. So we don't have to really worry about at this stage handling this error or clicking don't fail on error, just because the groups that we allow the user to, yeah, I always have a habit of having too many tabs open. The groups that we have that we allow the user to select are all groups that are actually with this user, instead of having it where, oh, I'm just going to click on application development, for example. Imagine this was removed, but the user's not in application development, so it would cause an error. But in this case, we're fine. We don't have to worry about any of that because, oh, I do see a potential bug. You can kind of see when I hit on add, and then I went back to remove, it is still possible to submit it. So what I have to do is I have to clear the required groups on change of the type of requests, which we'll also do in this video. It's great because we're just kind of adding on some little adjustments and optimizations for this. So let's first do a lookup record, and we're gonna look up so the table is the sys underscore user underscore gr member table, and we want to check where the user is equal to the requested for, and we want to check the group is equal to the selected group. And there should be an out of the box action to delete a record. So if I search for delete record, and there is delete record, so with the record that we looked up, we are going to delete it like so. So now the record should be deleted at this stage. And for now, that is good. So we are soon going to do a test. I'm just going to activate it. And we're going to quickly just fix that little bug that we found. And I'll show you how to do that, which is another little topic as well. So there's quite a few things we're covering in this video. Let's go back to maintain items, although I may have already had it open in the mini tabs that I have. So let's click on add user to group, and well, that's opening. So there's a few ways we can do this. I'm going to use a catalog UI policy. So this is essentially a way where you can select a form, or you can set it to a field, for example. Until the field is selected, you can display other fields, you can clear other fields, etc. There's quite a few flexibility with this. For another video, we'll go more in depth with this. But for now, I'm just going to do something very simple on the spot. Is I am going to simply clear the value. So when the request, or when type of request changes, essentially, I'm just thinking about how I want to do this. We could use a onChange catalog client script. As I say it out loud, maybe this might be a little bit better, which is again another topic for another video, but real quick, what we could do is call this clear clear required groups field, and this is going to be an onChange, and the variable is going to be the type of request. So when we change the type of request from add or remove, we want to clear the other variable. We'll have this set to all. and we'll have this set to the requested items and the catalog task. So when it changes, it should be one line of code we can do. I'm just thinking about it. gform.clearValue is a ServiceNow function. So gform is just a current form, and then we have a bunch of functions we can do to fields. So we need to tell it what value we want to clear, and we want to clear the required groups field. So the first input should be the internal name. So if I control back so I don't lose that page, and then I'm going to click on the required groups, and that is just opening. There we go. Let's grab the internal name. Close that. Gotta get into the habit of closing some tabs. And then we can just simply set this. I have no idea why the CMDB just popped up. I'll look at that when I rewatch this video. We can now set it to a empty string. Control S. And now if I go here and do a refresh like so, we can see that I'm going to select a required group, and if I select remove, it's empty. So it did clear itself, which is great. So now if I select Abel, I can see these three groups. I go to add, I select this, and now I'm like, let's try to reproduce that bug. Oh, I can't. The group actually disappeared. So that seemed to fix that, and we are ready for a test. So let's remove the group US Presidents Group 2, and it should be automated. So if I do submit and I go back, we should automatically just see that group not there, assuming I didn't make a mistake. And we selected Abel, and if I do remove, we can see that it is still there. So let's see what went wrong with it. So now, let me close this. Yeah, there's the request. Let's see why that threw an error. Click on that. Click on that. Type of request is removed. Oh, it has to be approved first. Whoops, my bad. All right, well, our approval workflow is still working, so I completely forgot we added that. And then refresh. And now it creates the task, and now it will, or it should remove the group from the user. So remove Abel tutor to US Presidents Group 2, or from. Could be better the text. For another video, we can optimize the text a little bit. And because we changed the value to be a capital, there's an extra space here that could be fixed up too. But we changed the value to be a capital, so it's actually capital R now, which is good. So let's actually see if it removed it from the user. And now if I select Abel, and now I hit remove, and we can see that it is in fact still there, so that's not good. Let's see, let me go back so we can see that the task did, I must have missed a step. It's still open too. So let's see the bug that I caused within the flow. If the type of request is removed, then, all right, let's actually go look at the execution so we can actually see the, oh, an error was here. That was from another day. So that was actually, let me just go to, it might have been that. Maybe that's why I did. Let's see. Let me close that. This is a good chance for me to play with Washington. Now it's operations, so they changed the title of it. Flows. Can I? Let's see. I'm getting used to the new UI. Let's see. Show matching. And there's an error here, but the question is, that looks like the most recent one, so it must have been this one that caused the error. But normally it should show me the flow execution. It failed trying to execute on collection insert. It's doing an insert. Okay, that shouldn't be doing an insert if it's removed. Duplicate entry. So it sounds like it didn't properly go into my if condition for some reason. Oh, here, open. Okay, this is new. Open an operations view. No, that's not it. Let's see. We are learning together, everybody. I wanna. It's a lot. I'm sure once I know it for the new Washington release, I'll figure it out. Because normally you can see the execute, like the actual like step by step, and then it becomes a lot simpler to see errors. Click on that, and let's see. Anyways, it's going here. Error during insert of sys. So I tried creating it, which is not what we want. So let's go back to the flow, which I lost. Back to Flow Designer. Automate group requests. All right, so if request is approved, create our automated task and then do a if. Oh, what? Okay, I see the issue. It's not there anymore. Did something not save properly or removed my condition here? Remove, or I probably messed up, which is most probable. All right, let me activate it. So you saw what happened was it wasn't set to removed the condition. So I don't know if maybe I forgot to set it. I talk so much that I always forget what I did when I'm doing recordings, but I'll watch it during. I'm sure I'm gonna watch this video before I upload and be like, "Oh, that's what happened." Yeah, or maybe ServiceNow something with the flow bugged. Um, so now it should go into this condition and remove the record. What happened was this was blank, so because it was blank, it went to the else and it tried to create a group record that already existed. So of course that's gonna throw an error. I'm just gonna click activate again. I just really want to make sure that this is activated. All right, and then we're going to do another test and cross our fingers together. All right, successful. Double check this. Okay, so now let's try this again. So we're going to reload and we're going to select Abil. We're going to go to remove and we're going to go to US President. I'm going to go a little bit faster now. We're going to then go to the request. And I'm going to do a search here. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to click on the RITM because you know we're the fastest people alive doing this. We're going to approve the request so it can trigger the automated process to actually remove it from the user. And now if I go back and I select Abil, we should not see presence unless I'm going crazy. Okay, it's there. So it did work. You see how now it's only 2 groups instead of 3. So now it's working. So it was because of that. Just going to double check this. That looks great. So now what's really cool is I can select Abil again and we can re-add the group, US Presidents Group 2. So remember, if the user had the group, it wouldn't show there because of the advanced reference quantifier and the script include we did. But because we removed it, now we can re-add it. So now if I do submit, it will add it to the user, but I have to approve it each time now, which is maybe something I should have done in like a part 12 because it makes things a little bit slower. But anyways, RITM, approve, and then go back to the request. So now Abil will have, this is good because we're double checking that add is still working with the changes we did. So now if I select Abil again, the best name in the world, we can see that Abil has 3 groups, which is great. And if I hit remove, we can see there's 3 groups here. I'm gonna hit problem solving now to remove that. We're gonna do a submit and we're gonna do a search. We're going to click on the RITM. We're going to go ahead and approve that so it can remove the group. And if I go back, we do a little refresh. That wasn't necessary. We can go to Abil and we can go to remove. We see now 2 groups. So the problem solving group is no longer there. And of course, if we search add, it appears there because it was removed and the user doesn't have it, which means that we can add it back to the user. So that seems to be working. I'm going to actually remove this add attachments too. Real quick, it is an automated form, so it doesn't really make sense to have an add attachment enabled there. So I'll show you that too. We're going over a lot in this video. That's actually very easy. It's out of the box. There should just be a checkbox. I'm just also gonna actually I'll leave that open. I'm gonna close a few tabs because I just have way too many tabs open. Don't need that. Don't need that. And then we will go to maintain items again to find our record. We're gonna search for group, add user to group. And if you click on portal settings, hide attachment, save that, and now it should hide that attachment right here. Excellent, and it does, which is great. So we covered quite a bit in this video. We did a very simple catalog client script on change for when the type of request changes to clear this value. We added the remove to be able to remove groups, which means that we updated the flow to actually automate that process. And of course, we updated our script include, which is used in our advanced reference quantifier to only show the groups that the user is actually in. And yeah, Ali's in none, which is why we saw none there. However, there is another bug I see here. So there's definitely ways we can improve this. So for example, I selected Aline, and so we need to catalog. I'm just gonna do this really quick with you guys. We're just gonna do the whole part forward of 100 in this video. I'm just kidding. This is the last thing we do, I promise. Because I selected requested for, and now it's showing cab approval, but this user isn't in cab approval because this is from the previous click, which could cause a bug if I hit submit. So I'm going to go to catalog client script. We're going to click on clear required groups field. And what we could do is we can make a clear required groups field. I'm just going to do let's just name this better. So this will be type of requests change, then clear groups field, or just clear groups. And I'm just going to control S that to save it. And then let's do the requested for change. And we're going to do an insert and stay. So that way it's just going to create a copy. So it's still going to be there for when the type of request changes, because we're going to make the exact same thing for requested for. So now when requested for changes, we are also going to clear the required groups field. So now if I select Abil, for example, and now I select another user, it also clears. So that way that bug won't be reproducible as well. Excellent. That's why it helps to like really play around with it and really just make sure when we're testing, we add a functionality. Oh, maybe another potential bug to always be on the lookout for those bugs, because there's always these little details that come up. So it's good that we caught that during this video. All right, guys. Well, that's about it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. You watched me struggle a little bit trying to problem solve live, which is really great because it really tests my skills and such, which I love. And I love just sharing with you guys to kind of see, like, instead of me doing it beforehand and doing it perfectly, I prefer to kind of do it on the spot, because then I kind of mess up, and I find we always learn more from our mistakes rather than doing it perfectly. So I already quite made me think quite a bit, a few things I wouldn't have or wasn't planning on showing in this video, like having client scripts, but it was important for those use cases. But there are many other solutions as well for some of the bugs that you saw, which maybe we'll cover in another video in the future. On that note, I will go to bed right now, but I wish you guys a wonderful night, a wonderful day, and we will talk in the next video. See you guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.